Everybody see my screen?
Yes.
You see advertisements and such. Um, I went through, this, and what I want to do here is I want to make this, somewhat informal, and go through strategies of how we can actually reach out to various businesses, and what products fit where, and what's the angle, and so forth and so on. Um, I went through a local publication I got, and literally I could have cut out 50 or 60 of these advertisements, but I got a bunch of these advertisements, and these are all businesses that are advertising locally here, and I haven't gotten to them because I haven't been out in the street marketing in a year. But now I may. There's so much opportunity here. But, like I said, I printed out a few of these, and what I want to do is I want to go through these, and, you should all be doing this as well, because from the standpoint of reaching out from a sales position, if a company is advertising, and no matter what kind of publication it is, no matter what the circulation is, they're spending money. So two things. First of all, they have some money to spend. They're trying to reach out to bring in new customers, and they actually want new customers. And that's something I was surprised when I first started selling this and going out in the street. I was surprised that sometimes I'd come across businesses that actually didn't want new customers. They were saturated. They were busy. They didn't have any. They were auto repair shop. They needed more mechanics. Whatever the case may be, but they didn't want more customers. So when a business is advertising, that they're looking for ways of getting more customers. So all these businesses that I cut out, like I said, I could have done this all day long. More publication. I didn't even get through it. All these businesses are advertising, and all these businesses, and there's more of them than this sampling of verticals, are suitable for one or more of our financing programs. So let's go. I want to go through some of these business types, and I want you guys to tell me. And what I'm going to do is let's look at the business type. I'm going to pull up our consumer financing products and tell me which way you would go with them. Okay, so let's take a look at this first one. I'm going to enlarge it so you guys can see it better. You guys can enlarge it on your end as well. F&M Auto Repair. Okay, so they're advertising. They have typical loss leader stuff, the small stuff, but what they really want is for you to bring your car in so they can do the big stuff. So there's no financing here. They're not, so obviously they either don't have financing, which I think is the case, or they don't think it's going to be pulling anybody in, which if that is the case, they're making a mistake. So let's take a look at our product line and tell me, so this is auto repair. Let's take a look at this and tell me which one of our product lines do you think or would be most suitable for auto repair. Which way can we go? So the choices are, on the left side, you have our Credit 180 program. So the Credit 180 program is a credit-based program that can go up to, for A credit people, theoretically 100,000. But in the auto repair sector, it's more like 30,000. For subprime people, it will go up to $10,000. One of the advantages is that there's no down payment required, so they can finance the whole thing. And the terms will be anywhere from 24 months, to 5 years for something like this for the amount of money. But chances are most of them will be 2 or 3 year terms. So we have on the one side we have the Credit 180 program, and on the other side we have our Check 180 Platinum program, which is more of a 6 or 12-month payment plan where 25% of the total is due at the time of the sale, and the rest is spread out over 3, 6, or 12 months. It's a non-credit-based approval financing program. So in other words, most of the vetting is done on the individual's checking account. There's no income check required. If they can't get enough information from the checking account, they will pull a credit report, but not for the score, just to see if there's other circumstances, other things on the credit report that can pull it over the top. So it's really a checking account based program. So the individuals have to have a checking account and they have to have the 25% down. So, which program do you think would you go with for an auto repair shop? What do you think? Which way would you lead?
The Easy Pay program.
Think the Easy Pay program? I think so.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think so. How about it? Anybody else have a different opinion? Because they both can work. I mean, frankly, they both can work. Okay, let's take a look at the Easy Pay program for this business. So let's. I gotta find it. I keep on losing my ad. Oops.
Wow.
Did I lose my ad?
So are you still able to print something out, or you have just things are disconnected?
Okay, here's the ads. Okay, so you have let's say we go with the Easy Pay program. So what's the pitch? The pitch is this: if somebody comes in to have work done on their car, and let's say they need a new transmission, or they need engine work, or they need, and typically the cost of the repair, will be from a few $100s to, wow, that's some noise in the background, guys. It's a little bit from a few $100s to, let's say, $3,000. So most auto repair shops, $3,000 is about as high as they'll go, as they will need. So what we would do is, when going after the auto repair shop, is, you have people that need this kind of work. Based on the statistics, we know that over 60% of individuals don't even have $1,000 should an emergency arise. So these people don't have cash. The vast majority of people today don't have available credit cards to use for large purchases. A lot of people don't have credit cards at all, and many more have credit cards with very little available credit on it. So these people are stuck without some kind of payment help, without some kind of strategy to get them, over the top. They can't do business with you, or as a business, you'll need to either make a decision to do some kind of in-house financing where you're going to accept their payments, or send them away, and those are basically your options. So the Check 180 Platinum program gives you the ability to reach out to these individuals. It's non-credit based. As long as they have a checking account, that's in good standing, they should be approved. And statistically, this program is approving about 70% of applicants right now. So if you had let's using round numbers, if you had $1,000 auto repair job, the way it would work is you would offer your customers a 3, 6, or 12-month option. Based on that, those 3, 6, or 12-month option is going to be a cost. The cost is added to the job. So let's say it's a 6-month plan, and the cost is $18.95. So you can be looking at about a $1,250 total cost for the job. Out of that $1,250, the customer has to have 25% of that amount in their bank account when they apply. So if that is the case, they'll need $312.50 at the time that they apply for the program. Once, if they're approved, and it's a simple 6 to 10 minute process, if they're approved, the balance of, in this case, $930 for rounding it, will be due over 6 months. So they have to come up with the $312, and then they'll have to pay $156 a month for 6 months, and that will be the program. It's a non-recourse to the business, so no matter what happens, even if the customer misses their payment, stops their, whatever happens, they're not going to have any recourse with regards to this. So you're going to get 100% of your money in about 2 to 3 business days after this is done, and everybody's happy. The customer gets the work done, you get your money, and the customer has time to pay it off. And coming up with $312, while is not nothing, is a lot easier than coming up with $1,000. Wouldn't you agree? And what you can do is you can go into and I would use this, the return on investment calculator. If you guys haven't seen this, you should become familiar with this program. It's a simple spreadsheet. It's in the back office, and basically you could run through a scenario with them. So what is your average sale for an auto repair shop that needs somebody needs financing? Let's call it $1,500. Okay, what percentage of each sale is profit? Let's go with 50%. And don't you think that you know, if you advertise this, I see you're advertising already. If you put an ad in that ad that says financing available, you know, no credit required, you know, something like that, don't you think it's going to pull people in? Don't you think it's easy? It's safe to say that you're going to get 4 or 5 new customers a month because of it? Okay, let's say 5 customers. So you got $3,750 of profit per month. That's $45,000 of profit per year. So if you realize another $45,000, what would you do with that money? I mean, how would you use it? Would you use it to expand your business? Would you use it to finally pay yourself a fair wage so, you know, you can do better? But you know, the point is to get them living this. And when you see this in black and white, $45,000 per year, $180,000 profit over the next 4 years. It's not that difficult to sell the program. So no matter what you're charging, and then when you get to the cost of the program, if, you know, and as a sales agent, the cost to you is $295 for the equipment, and you can charge above that. So if you have to come to them and say, all right, here's the investment, it's $695, and that includes the cost of the equipment that is needed. Is that going to be that hard of a sell? They're going to get their money back based on this, and you know, let them use their own words. I mean, you can suggest numbers, but I tell you, I've done this before. They'll come up with their own numbers. They'll sell themselves if you give them this opportunity. So the cost of $695, it seems like a pretty small investment compared to the fact how many investments can you make where you get your money back within the first 15 days, and that's what's going to happen here with this program. So, you know, that's the way I would go about it. I think it's not that difficult of a sale once they acknowledge the need, and you have to get them there. You have to get them there that they're losing customers. They have to be able to acknowledge that there's people that want to do business with them that just can't. And you know, and they're going to come back and say to you, well, you know, nobody ever asks for financing, or nobody ever tells me they don't have. Well, you know, that's because one, people are sometimes too embarrassed to say they don't have the money, or that they don't, or they have bad credit. So you have to be proactive and reach out to them, and use it as a convenience. Give them the out to say, you know, if you don't feel like using all of your resources, we have this financing program. It's fairly easy to get approved. It allows you to use your money differently. Two,
Bob,
if people, yes.
What's the name of it? Is this a global account?
No, this is SPS. No, we are no
okay.
longer using. We are no longer using global. As a matter of fact, I forbid you from ever saying the name.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. I didn't want it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So Mike interrupted my train of thought, and I was on such a good run. I forget.
You were talking about your vacation.
What's that?
You were talking about your vacation.
Okay. So, you know, I mean, you basically have to get, oh yeah, I know what I was saying. You basically have to get them to the point where they're going to acknowledge that there's people that need this. So, number two, number one was they're too embarrassed. Number two is if people know they don't have the money to spend and they have a serious situation, they're going to start researching, and they're going to find one of their competitors to do business with that has some kind of financing available. And there's other people out there that do. I mean, even in this community, if you search hard enough, I'm sure that there's people that offer one of these type of programs. So, you know, for business to be cutting edge, they have to have this type of option, particularly if they're advertising. Because if they're advertising, people know that they're behind the 8 ball if something would ever happen. Believe me, somebody who doesn't have $1,000 in the bank and depends on their car to get around, and they know that's their livelihood. If something would have happened, they'd be screwed. If they see an ad that suggests that this is auto repair shop does repair and offers financing, easy financing, that ad's going to be cut out. It's going to be put someplace safe because, listen, cars are, it's inevitable. At some point, a car breaks down. At some point, it's a mechanical device. At some point, something is going to happen, and if they're not prepared for it, they're going to be screwed. So, this will gain traction. So, for a company that is advertising, this company, for them not to have that kind of option for their customers in their ad, is silly. They're definitely losing it. Losing people, whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow. It's going to gain traction. People will see the ad, and this company, I just know for a fact, has been advertising for quite a long time. So it's people see it and people take notice of it, and when something happens, they will use it. Okay, so I think the Check 180 is a good solution. The other program would work as well, but the thing with the Credit 180 program, it's $1,000 and higher, so it's not gonna handle the $300 or $500 job. And believe me, when people are in tough straits, sometimes coming up with $300 or $500 can be an issue as well. So the advantage of the Check 180 is that they'll be able to do the smaller jobs. You could sell both programs to them. There may be a need. But I think the Check 180 program for a small auto repair shop, would work just fine. Any comments on that? Any suggestions? Any rebuttals that you guys are getting that, if that who has tried selling this? Okay. Let's look at another business type. Let me see. This one is shutters. Shades, shutters, draperies. Let's keep on going.
Doors.
Those shutters and gutters, those shutters are extremely expensive, Bob.
Yeah. How much do they get? Yeah, how much do they go for?
It depends, but it's all based on not per square foot, but UI is what they call it.
Okay.
United Inch.
Okay, let's talk about it then. So, which program would you go with the shutters and blinds?
I would probably go with the Credit 180.
You would go with the Credit 180? Okay.
Personally, yeah.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
The reason why is the shutters are very expensive. He's exactly right. But the people that would be buying that kind of shutter is an upper end person, and it's going to be looking at a different type of financing. It wouldn't be like a transmission you need it, you got to have it, that type thing. It's somebody with really bad credit and money can't buy nothing to get by. It's not an emergency situation. They go to Walmart and get them for $15. You get a set of shutters like you do here, you're talking $1,000 or more.
So what would you go with?
That's why I said the Credit 180, not the check 180, right, but the Credit 180. That's why I said it that way.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, understandable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's Credit 180. Let's look at the Credit 180. Let's look at this again. The Credit 180 looks good. I mean, and here's the thing. We can actually give them, because it's a tangible item. We can throw in the no credit check lease to own program as well. So we can basically cover them on both ends. On the smaller jobs, we can give them that lease to own no credit check program, which basically works great. If somebody thinks they can pay it off in 90 days, it's a very low cost finance program. So we can throw that in. Credit 180 program for the bigger jobs. So, which is great. So we can cover them on prime down to 640 credit score, and then go to subprime as low as they want based on the discount that they're willing to tolerate. So, let's say the business go as much as a 25% discount, and we'll teach them how to build that in. So with a 25% discount, that's probably going to cover them down to a 560 credit score, most likely. So we'll be able to cover people pretty low. Now, when you're talking about home services like this, you know their credit probably isn't in the toilet, because somebody who's in foreclosure or somebody who's really in bad shape is not going to spend the money to do that kind of job. So either their credit, either they're have recovered, they may have been in bad shape at one point and now they're coming out the other end. So and that's happening a lot. That's happening a lot now. People, all of a sudden, the reality is, all right, they've come out the other end. Now they're going to be in their house while, and now they've gone a long time without making improvements. They haven't done anything to their house, so they want to start doing things to their house. So they may not have pristine credit. They may not have pristine credits, but they may have acceptable credit. So the Credit 180 program makes a great option. You know, they can finance it. There's no down payment required. They have a longer term, so the payments are lower. It's easier for them to digest. It's a very quick turnaround. So if they get approved by the primary lender, it's in a matter of 1 or 2 minutes. So and it could be done in a showroom. It can be done by somebody who's going around to people's homes right there in their home. If they have an iPad, I mean, if they have a tablet or a computer, they can go online and they can do the application right there and then for the consumer. There's a lot of different ways that we can accommodate them. They can put the application on their website. So if somebody wants to come in, they can try to apply first before they come in and work the job. So it gives them a lot of options, and it's a great program. If somebody's got good credit, like really good credit, the terms are going to be, tremendous. I mean, you're looking at, for the prime credit in this case, and I went with the low discount program, you're looking at a 5% discount, per loan. That's tremendous. That's not too much different than a credit card transaction if you think about it. So from the standpoint of the merchant, this is almost a no-brainer. The ROI calculator is an easy thing to convince someone that this investment is well worth it. From your standpoint, if you get a business that you're sure this is going to work for, personally, I wouldn't hit them over the head with the upfront fee. I would come in as low as you possibly can with the upfront fee, because you're going to make the money in residuals. This is a residual world, guys. This is, if you believe in what you're doing, you should be looking to do volume. You should be looking to put as many of these people in. Let's get them successful, and because that's gonna build you up. That's gonna, that one brick at a time. Ali talks about it. One day you wake up and you have $5,000 coming in for the month, and guess what? You can go back to sleep, and you're making that money on Christmas Day. You're making that money, 3 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't make a difference. So, this is part of that. And the golf course. This is part of that formula. So, this is very important. So, you set them up with the Credit 180 program for no additional cost. We set them up with the no credit check lease to own program, a perfect program for them. And the advantage of that program, it goes up to $5,000. And if somebody is sure that they can pay it off in 90 days, they can basically buy themselves that 90 days. And the only cost to them will be $40. Can't beat that, guys. You buy yourself 90 days and it costs you a total of $40 as a consumer. Either way, the merchant gets their money 2 to 3 days later, and it's a great selling point. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the Credit 180 is a great option there.
Well, let me ask you a question. On the optional subprime program, I mean, they also have 90 and up to a year same as cash options, right? But they just have to pay that discount?
Yes, right. So under the Credit 180 platform, we can help these merchants build in, 6 months same as cash, type of scenarios. It's not offered by the primary lender, but it's offered by the secondary lender. And for somebody with good credit, the discounts are still very low. So even though it's considered, the reason the subprime lenders are put into the subprime category is because they'll do subprime. But they're not going to turn away people that have prime credit. And people that have prime credit, they'll still be very, very competitive. So if that's a priority for a merchant, we'll make sure we set them up with a subprime lender, assuming the vertical allows it, that will be able to allow them to build a same as cash option.
Now, when let's say a salesman goes into the home and they fill out the application for the consumer, they're going to get an approval basically right away. If they're only set up, and I'm speaking about Sunrise, Bob, they're only set up on Prime. That's all we did.
If they only set up on Prime, and I got to make sure that that was actually the case. But if they only set up on Prime, yes, they'll get a decision right away. So it will be either a matter of seconds.
Now, is it going to be different lenders fighting for the business, or is it going to go out to one particular lender?
One particular lender. Then the reason why there's a lot of overlap. So if you're just looking for Prime approvals, the primary lender that we have for that is 40 credit score, so it gives you the best opportunity. We have other prime lenders, but they're not going to go. They're going to cut off at 680. So that's not as good for the consumer. So if they just ask for a prime option, we're probably only going to set them up with that one prime lender. Now, when I have my training with them, Phil, frankly, I will go over again the opportunity for the subprime lender, because I want to make sure they understand it and if at the end of that conversation they still only want the prime, that's fine. But I like to set merchants up with at least two options. One to me is not an option; it's an ultimate. I like to have more than one option, if at all possible.
Absolutely. Okay. So when we set up that company, like I said, Sunrise, if they only want to go prime, we're only going to have one lender. We're not going to.
Yeah, and I'll speak to the platform to see if there's another lender there that's not an overlap. So in other words, after this conversation, I'll take a look at that. So I'll see if we have another prime lender that's not an overlap that does something a little bit different, and if that's the case, we'll use them as the waterfall. So we may have, because the way it works is you only apply to one at a time, no matter what the program is, no matter whether they have one lender or five lenders. So it's a waterfall effect. This one didn't work out, we're going to go to number 2, number 3, and
absolutely
until we reach the end. So we got to make sure that if there's a number 2, it offers something different than what number 1 did. Otherwise, we're just wasting our time.
Certainly. Okay.
So the Credit 180 in this case, I think, works very well. Anybody else have any other angles you would take on this for this shutters and blind company? I haven't done this in many years. I know it's expensive, but I haven't priced this out in many years. So, what else do we got here? We have now we know Windows and this kind of stuff. This is you probably won't see this up north, but you're gonna this is hurricane windows and shutters and blinds. Probably the same type of thing. I would imagine this is equally as expensive, if not more expensive. This is definitely a Credit 180 product. Agree, guys?
Yes.
Anybody think it's Check 180? Okay.
You can get $1,000 in just one window.
Right. Okay. Now this one is Bayshore Tire and Service. Now I have to reach out to them. This is a big chain, at least over here in this area. They don't offer any financing. Now the advantage of I can do the Check 180, but what I can also do with them is, because it's tires and rims as well, I can sign them up for the lease to own purchase. Remember, that product, that no credit check product, is only good for tangible items, and it's got to be something that is theoretically repossessable. Okay, so not a transmission, because no one's going to go and pull the transmission out of someone's car. The truth of the matter is that they never repossess. The reason they have set it up that way is to circumvent usury laws, so they call it a lease instead of financing, so they don't have to worry about a lot of the stuff that goes on with, because it's a great product and a low-cost product if somebody pays it off in 90 days. But if somebody goes beyond 90 days, it becomes kind of a costly product. Let's see, on $1,000, just to give you an example, the payment will be $150 a month. So if it goes full term, that's $1,800 on $1,000. So it's theoretically about 80%.
Wow.
So it gets kind of expensive, but it's a great product. those of you that have started hitting the streets, you're coming across it, like furniture stores. A lot of retail businesses already have that product in place. They're always looking for something better to offer their customers because those people with good credit don't want to pay those kind of rates. But it does serve a purpose. And same thing. Tires and service. Your tires go. Your blowouts or whatever. You need to get them. You need to get new tires on your car, and it's your life, and it's your livelihood. Your livelihood depends on it. You're going to pay the price. So we can set these guys up with the Check 180. The whole platform, the Check 180 Platinum and the Titanium, which is the lease to own program. Fan company, what do you think, guys? How much? What do you think these fans go for? Do you think this is a Check 180 or a Credit 180?
Combination of both, actually. You can get, if they do the whole house, it's a lot of money. But if they're only doing one or two, it could be $300-400.
So would you go with? I think I would go with the Credit 180 with the no credit check kicker, huh?
Yeah, that would probably be a great option.
That gives them the best of both worlds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, weight loss. Now, you got all these self-improvement companies. We can definitely do that with the Credit 180 program. Easily, we can do it. I mean, you have a lot of these type of membership type of businesses. And, a lot of times when they're offering payment plans, it's their own internal payment plan. You can offer them a different twist and offer them financing. And it can go either way. Check 180 will do this as well. You can do the program. You can't do the lease to own. You can't repossess the fat that they lost. But other than that, we can do the Check 180 Platinum. This works well. I mean, there's a lot of these self-improvement type companies out there that we can set up with financing, and a lot of them probably haven't thought of it. Air conditioning. This time of year, we may have missed the boat with a lot of these air conditioning companies, but the fact that they're busy means they may have more money to spend, so they may not be as sensitive to the ticket price of what our programs cost, and they may have the foresight to know that this is going to work all year round, especially down here in the South. The air conditioning companies they're less busy, but there's always a need for them. This is probably Credit 180, guys, right? Straight Credit 180 for air conditioning?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So Credit 180 works well. Let's take a look at that again. So the great thing about the Credit 180 is, and this is for home service businesses, it will go up to $100,000 for especially if you do Title Ones, FHA Title I loans. So most of the time though, the $30,000 regular cap will be enough for most of these businesses. You're not going to have much of a need beyond $30,000. The nice thing about this is though, these programs have longer terms. So you have these business types that depend on showing someone that not only are they getting something newer, they're getting something more efficient, and they're going to save money in the efficiency. So if you can show them that the cost of the financing is less than the savings and efficiency or comparable to the savings and efficiency, it's going to make the sale a lot easier. That's very big in the solar business. They sell almost entirely on what's going to be saved in utility bills. So you have to come in with financing that's got to still make it a savings at the end of the day. So the great thing about the Credit 180 program is we can extend these terms and make the payments very, very low for them, and be able to accommodate them on those kind of numbers. So if they can show someone, listen, you're going to save $100 a month, $1,200 a year, on your electric, and the monthly cost of the loan that you're going to need to get this is $75 a month. That's a winning formula. I mean, who wouldn't do that? It sounds like a pretty easy decision, and that's what these guys want. So once again, these businesses that require in-house sales, the Credit 180 program is great. They can go right to their laptop, right to their tablet, do the application right there. The answer comes back, right away, and they can get it wrapped up in a matter of an hour, let's say, paperwork and all, and get them up and running. The other advantage of the Credit 180. There's an advantage or disadvantage to this point. The primary lender in the Credit 180, remember, is direct to consumer. The funding goes to the borrower, not to the merchant. Now, from a merchant standpoint, you have to do two things. I would take a deposit to make sure that money comes back to me. So you want to build in a deposit, even if it's not mandatory by the loan. But the good news about that aspect is, unlike funding that goes directly to the merchant, they can get paid up front. They can get paid right away. Most of the, matter of fact, all of the, other than the Check 180, on the Credit 180 side, Credit 180 type lenders, all merchant financing programs, on home services, the work has to be, the product or the service has to be delivered before the funding. So, if you're dealing with a subprime lender in this platform, for instance, the work has to be signed off on before the merchant gets funded. If they're approved in the primary lender, the main lender that goes 640 and higher credit score, the money goes to the borrower, which means the merchant can get paid up front. And that's an important aspect of this. And a lot of the home service businesses will not be able to function based on getting paid after. A lot of times they use the money that they're getting on the job to go buy their materials or to hire their subcontractors. So for the very small guy, they won't be able to fund that job for the 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, whatever time it takes to finish. So keep that in mind.
Bob, as far as the home services aspect of it, anything over $7,500 has to be FHA, though, correct?
No.
Oh, it doesn't?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I apologize, then.
Yeah. And keep in mind that with the FHA product, it's not a typical FHA mortgage. Loan position doesn't matter. Equity in the house doesn't matter. It becomes a mechanic's lien. It becomes a lien at the end of the day, but it doesn't. But it's not based on the equity in the house or the position. They could have 2 mortgages already and still get the Title I. So it's and that's automatically part of the platform. If they're signed up for it, they don't have to. They don't have to ask for anything different. It's going to be part of it. So that'll be part of the consideration when the loan goes in. If it's a home service job that qualifies for Title I, it will be put under consideration for it.
Okay.
There's a disadvantage to it. There's closing costs with Title I. So
there's closing costs, and then there's also a title search, which takes a little while too. Correct?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Yeah, I've already explained this to Sunrise, so they're pretty much aware of it. So
okay, good.
We won't be steamrolling them on Monday.
Okay, good. All right, lawyers. Now, lawyers are a great niche. I get a lot of inquiries from lawyers. I have to admit, it's hard to sell them because they're the obvious program that I've had up until now with lawyers is the Check 180 Platinum program. The problem. I don't know if you guys are seeing this page. Hopefully. The contract, if you haven't looked at the agreement for the Check 180 Platinum program, you should make it your point to go through it because the lawyers will. And it's kind of contract. I mean, it just is what it is. There's a lot to it. That's the Check 180 Platinum program is great for lawyers, particularly lawyers that are doing small, the DUIs, the family court, the small stuff. It can be retainer financing. So if somebody comes in and they need, they have a DUI case or something, and a $1,500 retainer is required, and these people don't have it. What a lawyer typically does is they're going to take whatever the person has. They're not going to turn the client away. What they sell is something intangible. So they're going to turn the client. They're going to take what the client has, work out a payment plan, and hope that the case lasts long enough for them to get paid their money. And oftentimes it doesn't. Oftentimes they know they're not going to get paid all their money. With this program, they can get their money up front. Now, what they may come back to, and this has been something I've gone with lawyers. Lawyers aren't sure whether they can add to the cost. So one of the requirements of the Check 180 Platinum not a requirement, is, and you have to understand the mechanics of the Check 180 program. It's really accounts receivable financing. So what does accounts receivable financing means? It means that the business has a customer, okay, and that, let's say that customer, the cost is, the ticket is $1,000. SPS, the lender, is vetting that customer, and they're saying, okay, based on this customer, we're going to approve this customer, and we're going to purchase that accounts receivable at, let's call it 75 cents on the dollar. So we're going to give you a discount on that. Now, most of the businesses, we give them a calculator, and they basically figure out what the cost is, and they're going to work it into the loan, into it, and then charge the customer more. And it's basically internal, so they're allowed to do it, and they could charge what they could basically make up the cost of that discount. Lawyers will come back often and say, I don't know if we can do that, or I got to check with the bar or whatever. So the answer to lawyers is this: you know what? Don't even pass the cost on. Eat the cost. Because let's face it, you're going to eat the cost anyway on most of these clients that don't have the money. It's inevitable. At least with this program, we're going to give you certainty. So if you're going to end up with 75% of the ticket, at least you're going to get it. You're going to get it all at once, and you can move on to the next person. Or guess what? You have an intangible. Raise your prices a little bit. So you'll make it up on everybody. So you'll make it, if you were charging $1,000, charge $1,100. You'll make a little bit more on those clients that have to finance, and you'll make a little bit more on those that don't finance. And so now you've made it up. So there's ways around it. Just that to get lawyers to pull the trigger is difficult, but it works. This is a great program for lawyers. Now we also have a financing. We also can do the primary lender. We also can do the primary lender on the Credit 180 program for lawyers. We can go up to theoretically $30,000. I also have a secondary lender that will do it if it's a fixed. They won't finance retainer, but they'll finance a fixed fee, a flat fee. So let's say a lawyer is not charging by the hour, and they're going to charge for adoption $5,000. I have a Credit 180 lender that will finance that even down to about a 600 credit score on this for subprime. They'll do fixed financing. They won't do retainer financing, because what these lenders don't want is these lenders don't want something that can possibly be refunded back to a client, because that screws everything up. Okay, there's two types of services. Okay, and also to keep in mind, on the credit side, there's delivered products and there's future products. So delivered products are something like I was saying with the home service business. Most lenders will only do delivered products, which means it's not something that can be stretched out. It's got to be done right there and then. It's not a delivered product. We do have lenders that are part of our portfolio that will do future services, things like schools, things like self-improvement, things like that. It's a different breed, so that's why it's important to have a multi-lender platform, which is what we have here, because not every lender will handle every kind of business or every kind of even financing type. So it's just very, very important. So here's just some more construction, clock repair. What do you think of clock repair company? What do you think? Are they sell and sales? What do you think you'd sell them?
Oh,
I think I'd go with
a tough one.
Yeah, I think I would lead with the Check 180 Platinum program. I think I would lead with the Check 180, but I can go either way on that, really. The advantage of Check 180, because the repairs can be, maybe a repair may be $200, $300, $400. So you definitely want to set them up with something that can handle smaller amounts. But then again, grandfather clocks can cost thousands of dollars. I think I would lead with the Check 180 program, because I think in most cases This is not one of those must-have products. So, the people that really can't afford it are not going to go out and buy a $10,000 grandfather clock, I would think. Cosmetic surgery. This is a great category, guys. I mean, cosmetic surgery, and let's see, are they even offering advertising here? It's unbelievable to me that they're not even offering offering financing. There's no financing, not even mention of, and I bet you if I go to the Care Credit website, I bet you they're part of the Care Credit network, but they don't even see the value. And a lot of times the reason they don't is Care Credit's just a pain in the neck, and their approval ratings are so low, they probably don't even want to encourage it anymore. So, I would approach these people with the Credit 180 program based on the fact that we can handle a much more broader clientele. Now, you would think that cosmetic surgery it's as elective as you come, in most cases, it's a very elective procedure. I mean, you have those cases where there were accidents and things like that, but in most cases, it's a very elective procedure, which means that the clientele is probably better, more well off. So maybe their feeling is that their clientele doesn't need financing. If they're not going to come to them unless they can pay for it. So you have to feel it out. I mean, there are some emergency cases of cosmetic surgery. Also, it's a matter of convenience. People may have the money in the bank to pay for it, but if you give them enough of a reason not to, they'll hold on to their money and they'll leverage it. I mean, that's always been. I mean, a lot of people can buy things, but if somebody's willing to allow them to finance it, why not do it?
That's why these auto dealers are doing so good right now. They're offering 0%.
Yeah, and and they have to. I mean, let's face it. I mean, if they don't offer that kind of financing, but they're offering other things too. For those, if you notice with the auto dealers, they're going to offer rebates too, but they're not going to offer it on the same thing. So, for those people that maybe sold another car or have the money and want to buy a car with cash, they have to go and offer and entice them with a rebate. Something that they get. Everybody wants to get something. They don't want to just pay the ticket price. They want to get something. Okay, right. So for those people, there's the rebate. For people that need to finance, the hook is the 0% financing. They're not getting; those people aren't getting that rebate. The 0% finance, the rebate is for the reason they get the rebate is because there's no discount. So they're able to, for somebody buying with cash, they're able to translate that discount into a rebate. When they do financing, there's going to be a discount, so they can't offer the rebate. So that's the But if you want to learn how to sell financing, look at the car ads, because the car ads are perfect. When you look at the financing, you're never going to see a price of the car. It always talks about the monthly payment, and that's a lesson to be learned, guys. When people are financing, the cost doesn't matter anymore. It's what it means to their budget. Is how much are they going to have to spend per month, and can they afford that payment? Now, I'm pretty savvy. I've been in finance my entire life, and almost since birth. I used to do a lot of car leases. I mean, I used to lease all my cars. It took me, after my third lease, I finally went to the trouble of understanding how leases work and what I was actually paying for that car. I didn't care. No, seriously, I didn't care because just like everybody else, I'm human, and a car is an emotional sale, as are most of these things we're talking about. So when you get to an emotional sale, you basically just I looked at a car lease, $270 a month. I can afford that. And I did a lease. I knew $270 for 3 years or 4 years, whatever the number is. I didn't have to know the finer details. I knew what it was going to cost me, and I knew when it was going to end. So the same thing is true with this financing. When businesses, and this is what you have to get across to your businesses, because they don't know, especially if they haven't done financing before. When they start talking financing, they got to stop talking price. It's just if you're talking financing, it all comes down to how much per month and when is it over. That's Absolutely. The only things that matter. That's the only two things that matter when you're dealing with financing. So
and it fit into the budget.
Exactly. That's it. That's everything. And if you can get that across to a business, and if you can understand that, it makes life much easier, because then when you're talking about discounts become less important, because we'll teach them how to build that discount into the financing. or as much of that discount as they feel comfortable building into the financing. And then you just have to talk about price, talk about payments. That's all that matters. And it doesn't make a difference that somebody who's financing is paying more than somebody who's not financing. That's the way of the world. That's always the case. Cash is king. If you don't pay with cash, if you got to depend on leverage, you're gonna pay more for that. Any other questions, guys? Any other things that you want to go over? Any things you're coming across that you're having trouble with? Now's the time. I think this is a great exercise, and I would do this yourself. I'm telling you, I told you guys a few weeks ago, I give you a homework assignment. Have we got the card down payment program yet? Yeah, Phil, we can do that check 180 for card down payments.
We can.
Yeah, not for the car. We can't finance the cars, but we can finance the down payments. That's a perfect vehicle for financing down payments.
Right, because I noticed that one of the you know how the PowerPoint program is for SPS, the one you did in the back office.
Yes.
One of our references is actually a very good friend of mine, Taylor Hyundai. Or it's either Hyundai or Kia, I can't remember, in Toledo, Ohio. That's what he's using it for.
You can definitely use it for that. Absolutely, positively, you can use it for that. You can absolutely use it for that.
So we could I could set up my dealer with SPS, get them the equipment, and they could go up to $5,000.
Theoretically, if they're going to build, remember, it's an accounts receivable financing program, so it won't get you. If they're building in the cost into the financing, it's not going to cover $5,000. Won't cover $5,000. $5,000 will probably cover up to about $3,800.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah.
And the way you would. Right, and the way you would sell it is we would set them up with two different platforms. It wouldn't cost them more money, but we'd set them up one for the sales side for the down payments, and also they would want it for the repair side as well.
So we
would just give them two different mids. It's more, you don't have to worry about the complexity of it, but I would help you on that. But they can use it for the repair side as well.
So two different merchant ID numbers.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a perfect thing for them. I mean, it's why the auto repair shops don't use Check 180 Platinum more often is a mystery to me, because listen, it's not for everybody. Not everybody has that down payment or whatever. Nobody wants to pay, but people are going to grab it, and whoever does, it's more sales, and it's a proven fact. People spend more when they finance. All right, so
absolutely.
Not only will they get more customers, the average ticket will go up, because how many times, and we've all been there, when things aren't going so great, and the auto repair guy comes out and he has this long list of paper, and if you see more than one page, you're in you're in big trouble, and then you have to come. It's decision time. What do I need to do just to keep my car on the road, because I know I can't afford that whole thing. When people are financing, there's a much better chance they're going to pay for that whole thing.
Right. Exactly. Now, the SPS program, as of right now, is only 12 months, correct?
6 to 12 months. That's the max. Yep.
Okay. So they're not thinking about maybe going to 18 months or anything like that.
They're not thinking of that, but what they are going to be coming out with very soon, which I think is pretty exciting, is they're going to come up with a tablet model, a computer tablet model instead of the terminal check imager.
Oh, nice.
That's going to be a much better. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to change things. So they announced that last month that it's coming out soon. So hopefully next month we're going to see that. I think that's going to make it a lot easier to sell. Absolutely.
But the people that bought the terminals, they'll still be able to work though.
They can work the terminals. They can use it as a door stopper if they want. There's a lot of things you can do with the terminal. A lot of things you could do with the terminal. But they could still use it, and there's probably still going to be advantages to using the terminals. Probably usually when they're conscious of the fact that a lot of people have invested in these terminals, so there's probably going to be a major upside to still using the terminal to give you an incentive to continue selling these terminals. So I wouldn't worry about that. They're not going to feel stupid. They're not going to feel stupid because they bought the terminal.
And the ones that we're sending are EMV, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I'm noticing a few more of those cards are coming out with that with the chip on it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, right now it's I think the date is October 2015 is when everybody's got to be compliant. But these terminals are not going to be, the terminals that are being used for SPS are not being used for swiping anyway.
Right. It's the check reader.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
just for answering questions, isn't it? And entering data.
You enter the data into the terminal, so it's programmed, so the screens will prompt you what's the amount, how many months, that kind of thing. That's all done in the check imager is to get the information to the lenders for uploading.
Okay, gotcha. So because I got that training as soon as the equipment comes with Vicky.
Yep. That's great. Yep, and we'll be doing that. I'll be sending out the calculator and the welcome letter to them, today or tomorrow.
Oh, perfect. Just real quick, when we get done with this call, I'll be calling you. That gentleman is going to call me here, and I just want to get your opinion on a couple of things.
Sure. Anybody else have any questions or any comments? I hope this was helpful, guys. I think that, you have to get real life experience, and, it just can't be a phone number and a name. You have to think about things. You have to, when you're making a phone call or stopping in, you have to think, you have to put yourself in their shoes and come out with the right approach. And I would use the ROI calculator because I think that really drives it home, especially if you could show good numbers like that. And just make sure, we have a good arsenal of program. We're going to come up with, and we're coming out with more. I mean, other alternatives, I like to say. So I'm always looking to improve our offerings, and that's never going to stop. So hopefully this is beneficial. Go out there and start approaching these companies. Go through your local papers and start cutting these out. If they're not advertising financing, they should be. If they are advertising financing, it's good news because now maybe you can offer them an alternative and they understand financing. So the good news is you don't have to sell them on the financing. Now you just have to convince them that you have something that's going to help those people that are either getting turned down or you have a better mousetrap than what they already have. All right. If nobody else has any questions, I'm going to let you go. It's exactly an hour, and that's what I like to keep it to. Again, you certainly can.